Hello guys, welcome back to this channel. I am Manasi. We are going to learn the configuration and setup of Databricks to perform some hands-on for our SQL for data engineering series. In the last video of this series, we have seen the difference between OLTP and OLAP and also the role in data engineering. Also, we have seen the SQL overview and its role in managing the structured data. So today, we are going to cover the SQL basics very quickly. Generally, SQL statements or SQL query consists of the clauses or keywords like select, insert, update, from, where, group by, etc. The syntax of SQL may vary from environment to environment. Like some syntax will be different in PostgreSQL, some syntax may be different in MySQL, some syntax may be different in other cloud environments like BigQuery, Hadoop, etc. There is no vast difference between these syntax, so usually you can deal with any environment if you learn SQL. As a Databricks is a unified analytics platform for data warehouse, big data, machine learning. It provides a collaborative environment for data engineers, data scientists, machine learning engineers, SQL engineers, and hence we are going to use this Databricks platform for our series to perform hands-on practice of SQL. Note that we are not going to deep dive into the Databricks because the Databricks functionality is very vast, which supports SQL, Spark SQL, Python. We are just going to use Databricks for SQL purpose only. That's it. I will make separate video for Databricks or maybe the series because it's very vast. So let's see the configuration setup process for the Databricks. First of all, we have to search for Databricks Community Edition. Sign up. As we don't have any account, so we will search for sign up. So here is the link for sign up. So these are the process to create the community edition account, and I will share this link with you as well so that you can directly go on this link. First of all, we have to click on the try Databricks. Right click on this, open in a new tab. So here you have to put your details first. So I'm going to put my details. Phone number is optional. It's continue. So please be careful for this step. You don't have to click anywhere in the cloud provider, and you don't need to continue as well. You just have to click on this link, get started with the community edition. Let's click here. After completing the puzzle, your verification will be completed, and yeah, you have to check your mail. Click on this link. Let's confirm the email address first. I'm going to open this link in the new tab. Let's follow the best practice is to open the link in the new tab. So here we have to create our password. Now let's see how to create a sample table from a CSV file. So I have a CSV file and I will create a sample table to proceed further for our SQL journey. So I will click on data. You need to create a cluster to access tables. So in this community edition, or you can create a single cluster. That cluster will not longer exist. So every time you need to create a new cluster for Databricks. First of all, we will go to compute, create compute, click any cluster name or compute name. I will putting my cluster V1. Runtime should be 11.3 LTS. Create compute. This will take few minutes to get your cluster live. Our cluster is up now, and we can start creating the sample table from a CSV file. So go on the data, and you will see a default database here. So this is the community edition of Databricks. So here are some limitations for us. Like we cannot create another databases. We need to use the default database only. Please ignore the background noise as it's heavily raining outside. Create table. I will put employee. Click on this upload and upload a file. Here are two options: create table in notebook and create table with UI. With this option, you will create a table with the Spark SQL or Spark commands. We just need a sample table to post it further for SQL. I will choose create table with UI option. You have to add a cluster preview table. You will see the preview of table here. Column delimiter, you need to put comma. First row is header. We have to check here. In the first schema, we have to check here. The schema is automatically got detected. You can specify manually as well. Let's keep this by default as it is, and let's click on create table. So how to access or how to query on this table? So go to Workspace, click on users. You will find your email. Click on create. I will first create a folder.
Let me give some folder name here for and click on create folder button. Folder is created. Now we can create a notebook. So right click, create notebook. and you can rename this notebook. Let's query on the created table as select all from that table, and let's see the data. First you will need to connect the cluster, and here we will change our notebook default language as it is Python by default. So let's select as SQL by default for this notebook, and let's refresh the page once. Also you can change the cell wise language. Let's run the query and see the result.
The transformation is a very important part of Databricks, and it is implemented mostly in SQL using the views. So let me create a view from this. I will create a view as create or replace view, and view name, that is default dot view 1 as. So select first name, last name, salary from our table name, that is employee CSE, where salary is less than 3,500, and let's run the query. So to run the query, you have to click on this, that is run cell. Run all above means all cells above this line, above these cells will be executed, and run below means run all below means all cells below the selected cells will be executed. So run cell is we can use usually. The keyboard shortcut is Control plus Enter. So now let's see if our view is created or not. So select all from and the view name. Let's check. Yeah, so you can see the view is created and the rows are 22 rows. The total rows are 50 out of the 22 rows are selected as per our condition. Create a table from another table by specifying the conditions. Create or replace table. So create or replace statement alters the table if table exists, and if table is not exist, it creates the table. And I will put the default dot employee salary as. So we will first we will select in this case first name, last name, employee ID, employee salary, employee ID, first name, last name, salary from default dot employee CSV, and I will put where condition here, where salary is greater than 3,300, or I will put greater than or equal to 3,300. So let's first create this table, and we will put more conditions in the same table. So let's say, so I will use shortcut keys on keyboards Control plus Enter to run this query. Well, let's select the contents of the table to check. Select all from. So you can see this is the contents of the table according to our table conditions. So let's put one more condition, that the employee ID should be greater than 200. Okay, now you can see there are 30 rows. Let's see updated table have how many rows are there. So only 6 rows are there. So in this way you can update the table, and from the table you can update the view on top of that. Let's see how to use limit clause. So here are 50 rows by default in this table. I can put here the order by clause, order by the employee ID. I want to see only 10 rows, hence I have put the limit, and an order should be descending. Let's run the query, Control Enter. So you can see here the 10 rows with the employee ID in the descending order. In this way we have covered the limit, order by, where less than. Let's see how to use group by. Sum of salary from default.employees.default.employee csv group by department id. So if you put group by here, so if you run the query without group by and you have mentioned the aggregation function in the select, your query will throw error. So always need to use the columns which are mentioned in the select clause for group by clause. Let's see. Okay, so you can see here is the department wise salary sum. So you can see the salary is not in proper order, neither the department id. So I can write the order by either by department id or sum of salary. So I will put the department id for order in ascending this time. Let's run the query. Yeah, so you can see the department IDs are in ascending order now and their corresponding sum of salary. So as we are learning SQL for data engineers, so few important things to keep in mind while working as data engineer or while writing SQL script as a data engineer. If you are working on the large data sets with a large volume of data and you are writing a query to check the data, please use limit clause. This reduces excess strain on the server and hence the cost of server. And querying a smaller subset of data typically results in faster query execution time. So try to execute your query with the limit clause whenever possible. As there is an important and relevant topic called paging in SQL, we will see that topic in the next video in detail, because it's very important and useful topic. One important thing to know that it is essential to develop a habit of using comments when writing the SQL queries or SQL scripts. And this practice is important because the data engineering projects typically involve the collaboration among multiple teams such as data scientists, data validators, and ML engineers, and hence documenting the code by including descriptions in comments for each code block is at most the important. Here is a practice exercise for you to solve the questions by your own. I will post a separate video with the answers for the same.